Mira, they're setting up for tonight. The music competition for Dia de Muertos. You want to be like your hero? You should sign up.
My family would freak.
Look, if you're too scared, then, well, have fun making shoes. Come on, what did De La Cruz always say?
Seize your moment?
Show me what you got, muchacho. I'll be your first audience.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I'm joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm all right.
Doing good.
Good, I'm glad
Cold,
to hear
dude. I'm cold.
Cold?
That blows my mind. I'm sweating right now.
Dude, honestly, and I just want to say, since it's cold now, because is it cold now?
It was 79 today, so I don't think it was.
It's cold.
It's getting there.
We're at the point
freezing,
where
bro.
you wake up, you go to work, you're in a
You
sweater.
gotta put a jacket on.
Are you?
But
my question to you is: are you driving with the windows down?
Always. On the freeway, no. But in real life, like in town, yes. I don't get cold easily. Like at all. If my body is moving, dude, I'm not getting cold. It's just a law of physics. I'm not getting cold.
I feel that.
But if I'm just like stationary, then I'll start to get numb and cold. But
No.
but that's why I'm like the cold doesn't bother me at all.
Even at work, when I'm at work, I'm moving, bro. I'm always moving at work. I'm still cold.
You need to. I just keep saying you need to get some poundage on you, man.
Yeah.
I got all this extra like freaking insulation on me.
I know, like, whenever I had a much more manual labor job, I would go to work in the mornings with a Carhartt on and be cold and, like, sipping on my coffee. But as soon as I started getting moving,
Dude,
that thing's coming off because I'm hot.
even
And
if
I,
it's like
even
50
if it's 50
degrees,
out,
yeah,
I
like
remember-
still.
I'm taking it off because I'm hot.
I do remember that, dude. I remember working when I did irrigation. Dude, we'd get there at 5 in the morning. Everything's frozen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd be bundled up riding on the little gator, going to our little spots to dig holes.
Yeah.
And then once we start digging, oh dude, I'm in my short sleeve at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I remember that, yeah.
You got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my favorite time of the
But
year.
no, I'm freezing.
Getting close to Christmas, all the holly jolly stuff's coming out.
Yep.
Thanksgiving's around the
Fun.
corner.
Yes, next week.
That's crazy.
I feel like this year has just
didn't November just start last week? Like
this year's flown by.
Yeah. It feels like
it's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next thing you know, it's gonna be December in 2 weeks. Oh, I mean, it is.
Yeah. Quite literally.
And then in 5 weeks, it's 2024.
Yep.
All the movies are coming back.
Time marches
Yes,
on.
the strike is
Yeah.
over.
Dude, that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Dune.
Part 2,
Oh,
man.
that's like, I want it so bad.
I do
Like,
too.
I want it so bad.
I don't
Oh,
think there's nothing I'm waiting for.
The Batman Part 2.
Maybe
fast.
the Batman Part 2.
The Joker Part 2.
Yeah. Fola do. Is that how you say it?
I don't know. I'm there.
Full of
Day
doo-doo.
one in theaters. My butt's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to most. 2024.
Pause.
Your butt's ready?
Joaquin Phoenix is going,
yeah.
I'm gonna put damaged on my forehead.
Why are you Jared Leto, bro?
Hey, if he wants me to be.
You gotta see how good he treats him first. Then he'll maybe think about getting a face.
True, he's gonna have me singing along with him in this musical. I
is this
guess.
a musical?
I don't know how this is gonna go. That musical?
Well, speaking about singing,
Yeah, seriously.
I want to hear. I kind of want to hear you guys' Grito, but
I feel like the
I'm
mics would peak.
yeah.
It'd be terrible.
I'm only 25% Mexican, bro. I don't know if I qualify.
What if I gave you the pass, bro?
That doesn't count. I don't think.
I
dude.
give you the pass.
That's the same thing as being like. That's the same thing as a
Yeah.
black dude coming to you and be like, "Yo, I'll give you the N-word pass."
You
still-
And I'm like, no.
You know,
There's no such thing.
not how it works.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Oh.
So while I can appreciate Mexican culture for all that it is and all the intricacies that it has, I'll give it its respect, and I won't try to degrade it. You know.
Plus, I need practice too.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I feel like Miguel when he first tries, where he goes, his
Yeah.
voice is cracking. That's me
Honestly,
right now.
that's me.
That's me too.
I
so.
can't do mine for crap. I do mine, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
It's like a signature, huh? You do it the same every time, or is it just like how the music is directing you, or how do gritos
I guess how
work?
you
Kinda,
feel.
Yeah, just
I guess how you feel
at the moment.
How you
Because
feel
it's just
about
kinda
it?
let
like
it
it's
out.
just the onomatopoeia. You know?
I always think of that old guy on TikTok. You know what I'm talking
No,
about?
the
Where
one
you
that's
go-
always dancing.
Yeah, and he goes,
Oh no! Yeah. I gotta show you TikTok after. It's literally, he goes,
Oh wait! He's like super old.
yes.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen it.
yeah, he's like super skinny too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
love
think
that
I
guy.
might have seen him.
Oh.
It is like the highest pitch.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
There's a lot of like videos on TikTok of like drunk tios doing their grito, and
That's the
all
best.
those resonate to me because that's just me on the inside.
It's good.
That's just how you know you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're at the carne, everyone's drinking, just having a good time, and they're like, "Hey, give me a grito, give me a grito."
You just-
Everyone's just
you
going, just letting it out, like,
Doesn't it seem just like the best time ever?
yeah, just enjoying everyone's company and screaming.
Dude. Got good music, good food, good people, and you're just screaming.
Yeah.
Just screaming though.
That's my favorite.
That's a good time.
And it's okay to scream.
Yeah, it feels good.
It does.
Yeah.
If the Northman had taught me anything, it's screaming's good for the soul.
Dude, the Northman makes me feel some type of way that this makes me cry. The Northman makes me want to kill. Type of yell. This is like the. Okay, so the movie we're talking about is Coco, and you hear a grito here, and this grito makes you just want to like, I'm celebrating life here. dude.
Yeah.
Coco gives you that dopamine and serotonin rush,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And
the
the
Northman
Northman
gives you
gives
that
you-
freaking testosterone.
Yeah.
Right?
Just the,
Yeah.
Bro, I will never forget the feeling of walking out of that movie theater at 1 a.m. and yelling.
that
Yeah.
was crazy. I'm so glad we went as late as we did, because I was in that like delirium state where something happened in the movie and I was like, like, you know what I mean? Like it was the end of my world, dude.
Yeah.
The crows.
Yeah,
the
I
crows
was,
coming. You're like, oh, bro.
dude. When he was holding the heart, I was like,
Yeah.
like I thought it was like my own brother on screen. That was great.
Oh, dude, we gotta watch that movie again.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Definitely.
But Coco,
But
this
Coco,
freaking movie.
yeah.
Yeah, who could have guessed Pixar would deliver yet another gut punch to cinema?
Yeah, I feel like they're like the most consistent production company to get me to cry.
It's their MO.
It's their
at
MO.
At this point, it's
To
their
just make you
their
cry.
motivating operation is let's get some like older, younger adults in the theater.
And
Hopefully, they have children, and let's make them cry.
like,
I don't even think. I think if you show this to like older adults, they'll cry.
I agree.
Oh yeah.
And they succeed almost every time.
100%.
Almost every dang
Yeah.
time.
I think this.
Even
time,
when I know what they're gonna do too, like I can call it and be like, "Oh, he's gonna sing this song,"
and then
and he does it, and I'm like,
yes.
it's crazy because I've seen this movie twice. The first time I watched this movie, I watched it in Spanish,
Mm.
and it was pretty good, and I cried. The second time was this time,
Mm.
and I watched it in English, and I sobbed this time coming around.
mm.
And I can cry about it thinking about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like,
"Who's gonna put me on their ofrenda?
stop, bro.
Who's
Like,
gonna remember me?"
No
I-
one.
a couple years ago, I went to a Day of the Dead like memorial thing at a city up in the mountains called Hornitos. It was super cool. They bring a mariachi out. They seem like
Hornitos with a H.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And they like bring mariachi, sing Las Mañanitas, and you do like a little walk with a candle. And then each, like, it's super unique, and they do, like, a prayer. I was super cool when I went to that. And just thinking about seeing this, just be like, man, I wish I got to experience that.
Mm.
Like, I wish, like I'm half Mexican, half Puerto Rican. And I wish I got to experience more of my Mexican culture.
Mm.
And seeing this now just makes me one to even teach my kids about it.
Mm. Yeah. I've always thought that like Mexican folklore and like even Aztec folklore was always like really interesting as kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I remember when I first heard about Dia de los Muertos when I was in like 5th grade, just being like obsessed with the candy skulls and like the look of them and being like, oh, these look cool. Like not knowing anything about the actual like, you know, meaning of the holiday or anything like that. And like I remember liking that stuff as a kid, and then when I grew older and found out about what Dia de los Muertos is, and you know how about it's about having like respect for the dead,
Right.
and also like how the Mexican culture reveres death as something that like isn't always sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, especially on this day, like our you know loved ones come back from the other side and they get to spend it with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like on that moment we all get to be together again. You know, it's a very different look than what Americans view as death.
Yeah.
You know, and death is always something very somber and final in American culture, if it has any. but in Mexican culture, death isn't something that is final, or at least your physical death. There is something afterwards where on one night of the year, you know, you can come back and see your abuelito and abuelita that you miss so much, and spend time with them and know that they're there and all this stuff. It's a cute little.
It's
Yeah.
like
you know,
hopeful.
yeah, it
kinda.
is,
Yeah.
and it's something that again we don't experience here in America.
Yeah.
And
You know what? You know what I hated during this time, because we just passed Dia de los Muertos, and I got these TikToks of like these people putting ofrendas up for their like dogs and stuff, and bruh, those got me crying, dude. There was this one little Chihuahua. I hate to get off topic, but it had these like cute little eyes, and she put like a whole like ofrenda up and like treats and stuff, and I started crying, like like. Like, that dog's never gonna get to experience any of that again, bro.
yeah,
Once a year,
yeah,
come and get some treats.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched it, and I think I can watch it again.
Yeah.
Such a
Oh,
good movie.
easily. Yeah, I've seen this movie maybe 4 times now, and I remember crying pretty bad the first time. But this most recent time, man, it just hit so much harder for no reason other than, I don't know. Like it's just like when you know the story, I just sympathize so much more with Hector, and I see like the crap he's gone through and how hard he's trying to get back, and it just breaks my heart all the more. And then you see, it's just, yeah, it's sad, and it really, really hits every time I watch this movie, man. So I'm glad you picked it. I didn't know how much I love this movie until I watch it. I feel like I forget about it, and then I watch it. I'm like, it's so good, you know, like.
I feel like I put Pixar behind the spotlight, or out of the spotlight a lot. I think it's Pixar. I think I'm becoming an animation lover.
Fair.
Because I think most movies that I loved and cried to are animation, which is kind of crazy.
Well, when it's as detailed and as stunning as this movie is, dude, I mean, this movie rivals any like live action film with just its breathtaking visuals alone. Like I look at this movie, I look at the art direction, the art style that they have. I'm just like, the fact that it just looks so dang good. It blows me away, and it is visually striking to me. So,
yeah, this is my first time watching, and the only, I guess you could say, the only exposure, I don't know why it was taking me so long to think of that word, exposure that I had to the film previously was whenever it came out. I was working a job, and my coworker at the time would always be singing Poco Loco. And he would just be, yeah, and obviously he had kids, so he went and saw it with his kids, but he, really struck a chord with him too whenever he went and saw it. And I would always catch him freaking singing, "A mi amor, a mi amor."
yeah.
And that was my exposure to the film, was knowing Poco Loco. And then so now seeing the movie with that song in context is nice because I finally get to know where it comes from and why it's used and when and what's the significance of it and all that stuff. But also, I mean, if you guys have watched any of our podcasts, I'm not going out of my way to watch animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially Disney movies.
Yeah, it's just not. I don't know. I'm not going to go out of my way personally to do it. Maybe that'll change when I have children, but I don't know. It's just.
Man, I hope.
It's never been something where I'm like, I gotta go see Inside Out too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just not going crazy for him. But whenever I do sit down and watch a couple of them that are being recommended, like Soul, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of,
Dude,
or
Soul's so good.
yeah, or this movie, I'm kind of like, wow, these were actually really good. And they have like great stories to tell, and there's, really good messages behind them. Whenever you dig deeper and you're able to kind of, dissect the story for what it is, rather than just looking at it and being like, oh, this is visually pleasing, and I think that's kind of what these movies are made for. Like they're made to look the way that they do for kids, to be entertaining and to sell toys and stuff like that and everything. And then whenever you dive into the heart of it, there's actually a really good story there.
Yeah.
And then when those kids get older, they're going to be like, oh, hey, I remember Coco as a kid. And they're going to watch it when they're older and be like, I don't remember it being like this at all. And like, crying their hearts out.
Yeah.
I remember thinking the same thing with Lion King. Like when I was a kid, Lion King and a Goofy movie were my favorite Disney films. And watching them as an adult, I'm like, Lion King is it's so good. And the story of Lion King is incredible. It makes me cry.
It's goated.
Or even Tarzan. Like
Oh.
something as simple as Tarzan. I'm like, I watched those as a kid, and I was, it was just the sign of the times, right? It's the the popular thing.
I think of
But then I hear Phil Collins music and
goated.
For one so small, like I'm like, dude, I'm crying because it's so good.
Dude, trash in the camp.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine, like, whenever the kids that grew up watching Coco grow up and they return to it, it'll be like this whole, like, maybe not only renaissance for the movie, but just like them becoming aware in general. Like, oh man, these kids movies that I loved so much as a kid had so much to offer. Maybe I should go back and watch a couple others. So.
Maybe. Yeah. When they hit really good. It's deceptively simple and yet.
Yeah.
So incredibly full of heart.
And you know what else hits? That chancla.
She uses that thing like a gun, dude.
Dude, it's crazy. She has that thing on lock. She pulls it up like a 6-shooter pistol.
She does,
dude.
and she's like,
yeah. Just freaking tomahawking kids. MLG style.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't guessed it yet, we're talking about the movie Coco. It came out in 2017.
It's going to blow up.
It was directed by Lee Unkrich and Adrian Molina, and written by Lee Unkrich, Jason Katz, and Matthew Aldrich. It is streaming on Disney Plus.
That's where I watched it.
That's where I watched it.
Same.
I know you had mentioned you got something on while you're watching it.
Yeah, I think it was potentially just a streaming issue.
So
it took like restarting my TV, like hard rebooting it, and then getting my connection back up with my internet and everything. And then once I did it again, it was fine.
Right.
yeah. So that might happen if it does restart it. But
yeah,
I think so. I think that's it.
Yeah, what's Coco about?
Yeah, what is it even about?
Coco-
Who's
yeah.
Coco? Who's this Coco?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought Coco was the kid.
Really?
When I was watching it, I was like,
Really?
I don't know what Coco is. And they're all, Miguel. I was like, who's
That's not
Coco?
Coco.
Who's Coco?
And then I
bro?
was like, oh, Coco's the abuelita?
yeah.
Like,
So Coco is about a family in, gosh, they don't really say the town's name. A little town in Mexico.
I have no clue.
It's like Santa something.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I
He
don't.
It
says-
starts with a C. I forget what it is.
Santa Cecilia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Santa Cecilia?
Yeah, I think so.
So they're in Santa Cecilia. I hope it's not wrong. And this family is getting ready for to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. This not just this family, this whole community and neighborhood is getting ready. And we get introduced to this little boy whose name is Miguel, who is infatuated with music. Music is his world.
Mm-hmm.
That is this one thing that he loves, that he truly loves, and that excites him. But the one bad thing is his family hates it.
Banned.
Like it's shunned.
No
Like,
music.
at all.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
No music can ever involve in no one's life in this family.
Right.
And we don't know why. We just know there's a person missing in this family's wall, in this ofrenda.
Ripped
And
off.
They're the reason they don't like music, and it's gonna stay that reason. And so come to find out, Coco is his great grandmother, right?
Yes.
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 Because-
grandmother Coco,
Because
and
then
his
Mommy
grandma
Imelda is
Imelda.
great
Yeah.
grandmother.
And Hector is great. Well, yeah.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say no
Yeah.
spot. We haven't got there yet.
Yeah, yeah. And the ofrenda is the only way people can pass from from the land of the dead to the land of the free.
Hoorah!
No, I'm joking.
The land of the free. And oh, it's the land of the living.
Land of the living, bro.
Land of the living. And I'm sorry. And
Step foot into the land of the free, and they're all.
You hear just a bird or an eagle go.
what the heck, dude?
Start doing Freebird.
When you remember the TikToks, it was, what the heck is a kilometer?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are good.
Besides the point of that, besides land of the free, they go to land of the living, and that's the only way to go. And basically, Miguel is a little boy who wants to play music and has to find the missing picture because he finds out he opens like the I'm getting in the movie now.
Yeah, just say that. I mean, Miguel.
So basically, he's trying to get the last picture on the ofrenda so Coco won't forget him.
Fair. Yeah. He's really just he's
Trying.
Yeah, when he finds out
The
that
missing
one of his
puzzle piece.
ancestors played music, he wants to
go and get
to
his
go
blessing.
and get a blessing so that he can also play music,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it leads him on an incredible journey.
It's a life or death event. Literally.
Yeah,
So that's it.
yeah. It's a good one. Go check it out. It's streaming on Disney Plus as per usual, and check it out if you haven't. It's a good one. We're gonna be talking about spoilers, obviously, and this episode will be spoiler heavy.
Yeah, there's some twists.
Yeah, which I didn't expect. So, because I tried calling it on a couple
Yeah.
of our group chats.
You were right, though. I mean, for what the information the movie gave you, you were right. Until they were like, yoink.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good one, and we're going to be talking about spoilers. So if
Yeah.
you care about that stuff, if you haven't seen the movie, pause it, go check it out, come back. If you don't care about spoilers, continue listening. Well, we'll go ahead and start off with our first category being favorite scenes.
My favorite scene, and
What do you got?
my first. That sounded weird. My first favorite scene is the opening. We get introduced to this beautiful like scenery of Santa Cecilia, and it's just like these overhead shots, and you get it's daylight, and you see everybody just getting ready for the Day of the Dead and starting to lay out the what kind of flowers are those? Excuse me.
Those little petal things?
Petals.
I'm
They're,
not sure what they're called.
Poppies?
No, there's a certain word for them. Gosh dang it, guys.
I know there's a Spanish word for it, but
It's a marigold.
oh,
It's a marigold, and they're laying them out, and beautiful color, by the way. And you see this kid, and he's just running around. And excuse me, I feel like I'm running around in words. And he starts like playing music, but not on actual instruments. And he's on his way to his house, and while he's there, there's people stopping him, and then we find out that's they're his family. Like, hey, don't do this, mijo, or what is your grandma gonna say? And then finally, you get to introduce to his grandma, and she's like,
she's a hard stubborn lady.
Rules with an iron fist.
Yeah.
An iron freaking
and
chancla,
she's
dude.
like, go home, like, I'm gonna tell your parents, like, what were you doing? And he goes home, and she's like, you listen to music, what is he doing? Blah blah blah. And he gets upset and goes up to
like that attic
his
thing.
little
His, like,
attic,
his little
dude.
hideout spot.
His little hideout spot, which I kind of think is cool because it reminds me of my little tree house that I had in my first home that I remember. And you see him just his love for music there, and his love for Ernesto de la Cruz, and he almost has his own ofrenda up there for him.
Yeah, he's got like a shrine.
It's a shrine basically, and I just love it because we see this kid who obviously his family's not supportive of it for a right reason, but he doesn't know the reason, and you see him, he's just loving. He's like, I want to do music, I want to do music, I want to do music.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The whole intro, I mean, they give you that exposition of what really went on with this family, why music is completely banned and all that, and they're setting up this idea that, what we've built of our shoe business was because he left us to pursue music, and we had to build what we have. We have to rely on each other. Family is super important to us, and there's this just aura of respect for your elders, for the people who came before you, and for the business that you've created. And he's just a fish out of water almost. He's running through. He it sets up the whole character arc of him. Even when the grandma takes him to the ofrenda, saying these are your people. This is your Mama Imelda. These are your people. And he's leaves early, and she's like, come over here. What are you doing? He's like, oh, I thought you were done. It's it's creating the sense of he doesn't really understand the point and the value of family, and the grandma does. That's what she's been raised in. That's what she's thriving off of. She's holding on to those that she loves most and trying to remember them as long as possible. And he's just not understanding that, and for good reason. I mean, it's he's a fish out of water. He's the kind of person who he loves the thing that is shunned, and he can only be himself in his most private place. And I think that's why he looks up to Ernesto de la Cruz so much, because he seizes his moment. He is able to go out into the plaza and show his stuff and be accepted and succeed.
Yeah,
and
not only that, he's from the same town.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's it's his story. He wants to be Ernesto de la Cruz so bad.
Yeah.
But his family will not support him in it. And I just think it's so powerful to see this little kid strum up together this hobbled, broken down guitar that's held on with screws and painted just like Ernesto de la Cruz is. He puts in this movie that he's probably seen 1,000 times, and he's copying his moves. He is literally teaching himself how to play guitar based off of the movie he's watching. And it's just so, you just see him it reminds me a little bit of Soul when he starts to play and he closes his eyes and he's just
he's in the groove.
Yeah.
He's just in it. And you just feel an overwhelming sense of belonging. And it's just beautiful to see this kid find solace in in his hero, and to see him be completely have a boot over his neck and yet still find a way to be who he is.
Yeah.
And it really is the spark for the whole movie, the seizure moment. It's him struggling for so long and finally deciding, I'm going to go to this talent show. I'm going to get up on the plaza and I'm going to sing.
Yeah.
I'm going to play music.
Yeah.
I'm going to be me. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful to see this kid so vulnerable. I don't know. It's good, man. And you see, I think even too, the animation blows me away, because you see him actually fingering the right chords as he's doing it. And I'm just it's so good.
Yeah.
They really take time to detail all these very minute things, but it makes a big, big difference.
Yeah, I'd seen something too that I think this movie is like the longest running animation that Pixar's ever worked on.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
worked on between 2011 and 2017.
Yeah.
And you could tell, man.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell. It's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, we get introduced to Dante the dog,
Mm-hmm.
to all these people, and I love it. But I don't know if you wanted to talk about getting actually into the City of the Dead.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes.
That is one of my next favorite scenes.
Okay,
too.
what happens? Because
So-
I'm guessing yours is later.
My first favorite scene is whenever he actually performs for the first time.
Oh, okay, okay. So the next favorite scene is a little context is he needs a guitar to play at the La Plaza's talent show. As a musician, everybody needs an instrument, and nobody wants to lend him one. And he looks at the statue of Ernesto La Cruz and is like, "You're my, like, you'll get it. You told me to seize my moment." And he gets this bright idea to, like,
Break into his
break
grave.
in his grave and steal his guitar. And while he does that, he kind of like moves his grave, and it like shines some like light, almost like opening like whatever. And he strums the guitar, and the flowers go everywhere, and like this bright eye goes, and then people notice that the guitar is gone. Of course, they're gonna notice it's right in the center, but nobody knows where it's at. And finally, the guy goes in there with the lead key, but nobody sees Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
But he sees everybody, but nobody sees him. And he's not dead, but he's not alive.
Yeah.
And so we go through this chase. He's running into everybody and everything, but not everybody. And then finally he runs into somebody, and that somebody turns into be a dead person.
It's funny because he falls into a grave,
Yeah.
and the person is like they're completely shadowed, and they reach out to to give him help, and
He's like, "Oh, thank you."
it's funny because like he's one being raised from the grave, like he's the one who's quote unquote dead, and then it's funny that like he's the alive person, he's obviously scared, and then they're scared of him, and it's more of like the dead people are not they immediately come off of not hostile.
Yeah.
And it was a genius way to say like he is not supposed to be here, not supposed to be seen.
Yeah.
And all of these dead people who should be scary are the scared ones.
Yeah.
And it made it a little bit more like it's not so depressing and like dead scary skeletons. It's like
Yeah, 'cause there's
it's
a
your
scene-
family members.
There's a quote that I have to say later, and it kind of like matches what you're saying. So basically, we finally get this, and this lady picks him up from the grave, and come to find out, she like recognizes him, and she's like, "Miguelito, how can I see you? Like, and how can you see me? Like, what the heck are you doing here?" And I forget which aunt it was. It was one of the aunts.
There's so many family
So many
members.
family members, blah, blah, blah. They find all the other family members who have passed away in his family. But Mama Imelda can't cross over to the land of the living.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason. There's not.
Because their picture's not on the ofrenda.
We come
He
to
took
find
it.
out.
He took
He
it.
took the picture, and now her picture's not on the ofrenda.
Dude.
So now he has to go, since he's dead, quote unquote dead. He can go to the land of the dead, and we can figure out what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
If he can cross over, but she can't, what is going on?
Yeah.
And we get in this beautiful pathway, this road of just marigold flowers. And it's just so cool. You see family members just crossing off from everybody in this town. And then finally we get this aerial shot of the land of the dead. And it reminds me of, I hate to say it like, compare it like this, but of like favela.
Mm.
Everything is stacked on each other. But it looks so, like the colors that you see on it are so like bright and pretty.
Mm.
And it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like the tree cities in Avatar, The
Mhm.
Last Airbender. when like everything is kind of like you were saying, like stacked on top of one another and like feels like super high up in the ground, and everybody's traveling in all these eccentric ways and all this stuff, using your alebrije or using the tram systems that they've got and all that stuff too. Yeah, it's a cool way of showing the land of the dead for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just you get immersed into this world, and it's so like there's so much happening, and it's crazy to like grasp, but it's so cool to witness at the same time.
Yeah.
And I love it because of that. Because one, the world building in this is crazy. Because now I want to go there, even if I have to die. Take me there. Bro.
Take me there, man. The food will probably go crazy.
The food will go crazy. Are you kidding
I'm
me?
surprised Disneyland hasn't done something like that yet.
I think they have like.
I had seen they did the whole little like it was a dude had a Miguel puppet, and he'd be behind him and play the puppet as he's.
But like I would think that would go hard.
No, like an actual
Day of the Dead thing, or
no, like a whole section of the park.
Yeah,
I
that
think
would be goated if they had.
Disney has a place. When I went in 2019, it was kind of like decorated like that in Disneyland, but I went during Halloween too.
Oh yeah,
So
I could see them really capitalizing on some of this art style.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then in this scene, we also get introduced to Hector.
Yeah, Hector. He is initially like this heckler kind of guy. He's this
Like a bum.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you see him like try to.
He's
cross
like yeah,
He's like, I'm Frida Kahlo.
Mhm.
I'm on so many people's ofrendas. I don't
You
even.
probably don't
you
need
probably
to
don't
check.
even need to check. And then they check, and they're like, yeah, nice try.
they
and
know
he even
him.
books it
Yeah.
and
Tries to get
sinks.
across, and that's when we see that if you're not on someone's ofrenda and try to get across, you like can't
You see?
fully get across the bridge. You'll sink.
sink into the pedals.
Yeah.
You don't become even flow. You never seen that TikTok when they're just it's a guy who T-poses and he's just floating on.
The Jesus freaking skating in Skate 3 doing
Yeah,
I've seen that.
doing the Christ terms.
but no, I've seen it where they do it and it's like Gmod.
No,
I've seen it in Fortnite where John Cena
I've seen that one too.
freaking T poses. Like, but yeah.
never.
Yeah,
Never
you get
have I.
introduced to Hector, and he becomes a pivotal player.
He
in
does, yeah.
The movie.
He does, even because during this time, as they're meeting Mama Imelda, she is just like the grandma, where she has her
Even
own
worse.
shoe and she's hitting the devil box,
Yeah.
and
Devil
just as brash, just as stubborn, just as abrasive as the grandma. It's funny to see that the lineage it follows through the
yeah,
generations.
100%.
But they end up saying like, oh, you need to go back to the land of the living. This is how you do it. You get a pedal, you get a blessing from one of your family members, and you go back. And if you don't do it by sunrise, you're going to be stuck here and you're going to die pretty much.
Yeah.
And they go to do it, and Mama Imelda gets her thing. She says, you're going to go back to the land of the living. You're going to put my picture back up on the ofrenda, and you're never going to play music again. And it's funny that like the movie could just end right there because he says, okay, fine. He's dragging his feet. He takes the pedal, and he really doesn't want to. And you see that he gets back to the land of the living, and he's like, oh, I got another chance. I'm going to get the guitar and go back and play.
Yeah.
Breaking his promise to her, obviously, and immediately gets sent back. And she's like, not even 5 minutes, and you're back here already.
Yeah.
And
You blame him.
yeah, and he's obviously pissed, saying, like, you can't do that to me. This is a part of who I am. I'm going to do it on my own. And he realizes, like, oh, yeah, I have a family member here that I can go and get a blessing from that will not restrict music from me because he
was a
freaking
musician.
a musician, one of the most popular ones.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to him, get my blessing, and play music just like I'm supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Hector kind of gets tied in because as Miguel is running away from his family, he overhears Hector saying, I know him. We go way back. I can get you front row tickets because he's trying to like seduce the police officer to
Yeah.
let him go.
Yeah.
So he is lying. He's kind of telling the truth, but he's lying,
Yeah.
saying that I'll get him tickets and all that. And Miguel is like, this is the guy I gotta talk to.
Yeah.
I gotta get to De La Cruz.
Yeah.
And that's where their lives kind of tie in together.
Mm-hmm.
Little do we know how important they truly are to each other. and they go on to do their first little performance together,
Yeah.
which is very wholesome. You think it's two guys kind of using each other's benefits, like you're going to use the little kid to go and perform so he can get him to put his picture on the ofrenda
Yeah.
while Miguel is going to go and get his blessing. Like, it's kind of a mutual benefit type thing. But when
Yeah.
you really realize who they are,
Yeah.
you just see them, like,
Yeah.
dancing
Going
together
crazy.
and
Yeah.
singing together. It's just wholesome.
Yeah, it's good. This is my one and only favorite scene here because being my first time, I put a ton in bro moments. But I really enjoyed just this scene and just how fun it was, and watching Miguel not only perform for the first time, but also like breaking out of his shell and seeing Hector be like, I've been there, you've got to shake off those pre-show jitters. Like, let's get some shakes out through all your whole body.
Yeah.
Give me some shakes. And he's like, all right, now let out your best grito. And he's like, I've never done it before. He's like, let it out. Like, once you let it out, you'll feel good. And he does it. And then Miguel tries, and he can't really get it out real quick. And, they're trying to, work up the courage to perform. And then whenever Miguel reveals to Hector that he's never performed before, Hector's like, what? Let me just get up there, and I'll try to win it for us. And that way we can go up there and perform.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. Like, if I want to be a musician, I need to, like, actually perform in front of some people.
Yeah.
And, like,
I got to seize my moment.
I got to seize my moment. This is it. I have to do it. And he's like, okay, well, what song are you going to do? And he's like,
dude.
I was thinking Remember Me. And he was like, no, don't do Remember Me. And he, like, cuts to all the other acts, and they're all doing different renditions of the same song.
Yeah.
And he's like, do another one. And he's like, okay, what about Poco Loco?
He's like,
And he's like, yeah, that's a good one. Let's do that one. So they end up getting on the stage, and it's kind of one of those things where I don't know. It almost reminded me of Back to the Future a little bit, where like Marty McFly in Back to the Future was always so scared to perform in front of anybody, and then whenever he travels back in time and he performs at the talent show in front of his parents and all of their
they
friends,
don't know.
yeah, and they don't know, like he gets the courage to perform, and then like also unknowingly sparks like the rock movement, like in like influencing Chuck Berry and all those other guys, right? But it feels that way in this sense where we get this kid who comes up on stage, loves music so much, has never performed in front of anybody, and now is like in the spotlight and is like, oh crap, what do I do now? Like, and so once he finally gets the courage to start performing, it's great, and it's so fun to just watch him kind of perform and sing along, and also not only that, seeing the crowd kind of interacting with it, and then eventually Hector jumping out on stage and start dancing and all that stuff. It's great. It's fun. It's a fun time.
It turned into like a full out party.
Yeah.
And it almost turns out to like, you think about I think about like a quinceañera and how everybody's always welcoming. You see someone just walking and be like, hey, you want to play?
Yeah.
That's what this turned into.
Yeah.
And so I love this scene too, because it just makes me want to be a part of that. And
yeah. And I mean, they love Miguel even to the point where like whenever he finishes, everyone's going, Otra!
Again.
Like telling him, go again or do another one,
encore.
Like, and I just can't imagine that feeling for Miguel being the first time that he's performed in front of anybody, and now they're telling him like, go again, do it again. This was great. It's
just solidifying that he is meant to be a part of music.
Yeah.
Music is a part of him. It flows through him.
Yeah.
And the crowd can see it. I can see it. Like, I'm just full of life whenever I see them on the screen dancing together. Yeah, it's good. There's so many layers to it that just really solidify it as one of the best scenes, one of the greater scenes in this movie, man.
100%.
And I think this is also when the family comes and is like, have you seen this living boy? He's here. And as he's singing, he notices them and is like, oh, crap, I got to go. They're going to get me and try to take me back. And this is when kind of a big shock, because Miguel kind of lied to Hector, saying, I don't have any family here.
Other than De La Cruz.
Yeah, other than De La Cruz. Like, he is my one and only shot, not only for my life, but for yours as well. and Hector finds out that it's not true, and he's like, "You piece of crap! Like you freaking lied to me. You suck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and do it the easy way and tell him where you are." So they even split up. There's tension between them, and he makes his way. Miguel makes his way to De La Cruz, while Hector kind of tries to find him, but goes on his own way as well.
Mhm.
And this is where we get the I really don't have a lot of favorite scenes up until we find out like the major plot event of who Hector truly is. So if you have anything before that,
No, my next favorite scene is pretty much the ending, actually. Because this is all bro moments for me.
oh okay.
So that's why I don't have any favorite scenes there.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to talk about finding out who Hector is when he finally gets to, or Miguel finally gets to De La Cruz, and he's like he kind of makes his stand and sings and then falls into the water or whatever, and it's almost like he's being accepted. This is his great grandpa,
Yeah.
and he's getting shown around. He's kind
being
of
paraded.
Yeah.
He's like, this is my great grandson.
yeah, he's kind of like proud of him.
Yeah.
It's crazy because he didn't know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little weird that he didn't know. He's like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
But he's feeling accepted for once, which is great, and you just get to see him throughout this. Like, you get to see how truly famous De La Cruz is. Like, he goes to all of his guitars. There's like thousands of pieces of food because everyone has him up on his ofrenda because his reputation really matters.
Yeah.
And he just seems like this kind of nice guy from what we know.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes up until, he's going to give his blessing for him to finally go home. But he gets interjected by Hector. And De La Cruz is kind of taken back. He's like, Hector, is that you?
Yeah.
He kind of like is familiar with him. And they go on this altercation of like, you're a piece of crap. You're only famous because you stole my songs.
Yeah. This was a huge bro moment for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you stole my songs and never gave me credit. That's why I'm not that's why I'm kind of
I'm
being
a nobody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of you. And then even De La Cruz is like, "Well, you died. I didn't do it on
What do you
like
expect me to do?
choking on some chorizo.
yeah, like you died. I had to. I didn't really mean it."
Yeah.
But he's kind of alluding to the fact that he didn't write any of his songs. And Miguel is like, "Wait a second. You're not ending up being the person who I really thought you were."
Mm-hmm.
And De La Cruz even says something from a movie that Miguel is so familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, wait, that sounds so familiar. And he looks at the movie, and it is ended up being the plot of true life events.
Yeah.
And you get to see, like, in the movie, De La Cruz is like about to get poisoned, but he recognizes it is and spits it out and wins the day.
Yeah.
But then when Hector sees the scene, he's like, hold on a second. That night when I was trying to go home, you had told me to get a drink first. And I was walking home and I was feeling like crap.
Yeah,
and I
and
thought
you
it was maybe
toasted.
something I ate or something I drank.
Yeah.
And when he says that, it's like,
Yeah. And he's like, oh, my stomach hurts. And he says, maybe it was some bad chorizo.
yes.
Yeah.
And immediately then he is poisoning him
Yeah.
to steal his songs.
Yeah.
And that's the big realization that De La Cruz is the bad guy.
Yeah.
He is the piece of trash guy who
All
killed
my homies hate Ernesto de la Cruz.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for real. It threw me for a loop because as soon as it happened, I was texting the chat being like, oh, yeah, Ernesto de la Cruz is for sure his grandpa and all this stuff. And as soon as it happened, I text, oh, never mind.
Like, this dude sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, he shows even more of his true colors because Hector gets taken away by security, and then he's going to give him his blessing again, but then he realizes, like, Miguel, my reputation really matters. And I don't want you to go and think, and Miguel goes, that you murdered him to take his songs? And he's like, and he even takes a
Yeah.
little kid.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to keep you here till after sunrise so you can die.
Yeah.
So my reputation will stay intact.
Yeah. Insane.
Absolute. When you hear the word seize the moment, you're like, it's kind of like tarnished now because
Yeah.
it's like, I'm going to do the most slummy thing possible
Yeah.
to seize my moment, to make
Yeah.
it to where I'm the most famous person ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blew me away. I even love the scene too where he gets thrown into that big old pit
Yeah.
and lands into the water, and then you realize it really this is part of the time where I cried so hard too, because you get to see Hector is like slowly fading away too, and he's trying to say like, the one person my daughter, I just love her, the one person I want to see most.
Yeah.
And Miguel's like, well, who is it? And he says Coco.
Yeah.
And Coco's a familiar name. Obviously, it's Abuelita,
Yeah.
who's so old, on her last little bit. And he goes, wait, Coco. And that's when he pulls out the picture, and you see Mama Imelda and baby Coco.
Yeah.
And I cry so hard when he's like, I loved her so much, I would sing her this song. And
Yeah.
it's like you've heard this song 1,000 times over,
Yeah.
where this is Remember Me song. It's kind of like a pop song on the radio. You just hear it 1,000 times, you kind of get over it. But
he
when-
gives this context that makes it so much more like it makes it so much more heartfelt and
It's-
heartwarming. Whereas like I didn't even write it for any pop recognition or anything like that. I wrote it for my daughter.
Yeah. I
wrote
would
it
sing
for
it to
her.
her so she would remember me when I was off doing my stuff.
Yeah.
So she knew that I loved her.
Yeah.
And it just recontextualizes the song so much. And you see like him singing to her as she's the little girl. He comes up and they're singing together. It's just so intimate and wholesome. And it just makes me feel like I just want to cry so hard
Yeah.
when that happened. And I don't know, I just loved it, man.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
good. I even love the moment where they share that moment of recognition. Where they're like, we're related.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, because he's been so alone. Nobody in the land of the dead knows him.
Yeah.
Always berates him for chorizo and all that. And
Yeah.
it's got some of my one of my favorite quotes ever, dude. When he goes, he's realizing I'm a pretty sorry excuse for a great great grandpa.
Mm.
And then Miguel's like, "Are you kidding? A minute ago, I thought I was related to a murderer. You're a total upgrade." And it just feels so good to finally see Hector win for once,
Yeah.
because he's been a part of this community of kind of rejects,
Yeah.
forgotten,
Yeah.
just totally forgotten, just waiting to die,
Yeah.
a second death.
Yeah. It feels even better, too, whenever we see Ernesto de la Cruz get his comeuppance.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the cameras get turned on to him
So
and
good.
show
Dude,
his true character.
Shout out to whichever Tia was a chismosa and was like, hey, dude, let me record this real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said, I got some Facebook on you right now.
Yeah.
Facebook Live right now is right there.
Facebook. That's funny.
Yeah.
She was a real goat for that.
She was true.
And honestly, the whole land of the dead was a goat for staying quiet.
Mhm.
Wow.
Because they were eating up all the cheese, man.
Dude.
They were like, what's happening?
It's like one of those
They were
telenovelas
like-
I used
they
to
were
watch.
Yeah.
They straight up were like, no,
Yeah.
ni me digas.
Yeah.
¿Qué?
Yeah, I mean, imagine somebody like Chente.
Dude.
Like, and it coming out that he was like a terrible person.
Dude, if
like, that would
if
wreck
Vicente
people.
Fernandez came out and be like, all his songs were written by his brother.
Yeah, everyone would be like, "What?" It would that's like Elvis, like for Mexican people. Like
Yeah.
that would be earth shattering
Yeah.
for so many. So I
Yeah.
can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only, and to see them, he literally like tried to murder a kid too.
Yeah.
Just threw him
Threw
off
him.
the side of the freaking building.
Yeah.
Was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Insane.
completely, he destroys his own reputation.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's goated. It's still, there's so much tension there as well, because Mommy Imelda is like, she's still so pissed off at Hector.
Dude, and then a little bit before the scene, we get to see, she says, she smacks the heck out of Ernesto, and she goes, and that's for murdering the love of my life.
Yes.
And
he
then
goes,
Hector's,
The love of
I'm the
my
love
life.
Would you
of
call
my
me?
life.
Yeah.
the
Oh.
reconnection, it's just so, it's so good. It's so
It is
tight.
so good.
Yeah.
I love
and,
that.
and then we have to talk about the ending. So we get to this ending, like you said, Ernesto de la Cruz gets his comeuppance,
Wait, you gotta put the cherry on top where the way he dies in real life is also like kind of the way he dies in his second death as well.
It's
Where like
irony
the
on it.
bell falls on him.
Yeah.
It's the perfect use of irony.
Yeah.
Where the one thing that took him out physically is now taking him out again it's good. Nice little detail.
Yeah.
As he's falling, though, biggest detail I don't want to miss is that he loses Hector's photo.
He
Yeah.
loses.
His
Hector's
one and
photo.
only chance to be remembered.
And Dante is what's the I don't know how do you say that word?
I think it's
Zolo.
short for it's
No.
Zolo for short.
No, what are we calling those types of animals?
Oh, the alebrijes?
Alebrije.
Alebrije?
Yeah,
spirit,
alebrije.
spirit animal,
I see. Well,
or like your spirit guide.
Dante's a
Goat! Have
Yeah.
you seen that? I got to pull that up. The goat!
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. He's the goat.
He's the
Yeah.
MVP, the goat!
Yeah.
Alebrije.
The alebrije.
Dante, he struggled to hold Miguel.
Mhm.
He's not a strong alebrije. He's not a strong dog.
Mhm.
Fair. But what?
His wings are...
His wings
Puny.
are so puny, dude.
Yeah.
They're so small. But then this big old alebrije, his great grandma Imela's alebrije, who's freaking huge, picks
Yeah.
him up and scoops him and brings him into safety. And they're like, "Oh, we're glad you're safety." And he says the bad news, like, "I couldn't save the picture though. Like, they're gonna forget about him."
Yeah.
And they're like, "That's okay as long as that you're okay, and you can go back home."
Yeah, he's dying.
Like it's about to be sunrise, and that's all they cared was for him to go back home.
Mhm.
You can have my blessing with no restrictions.
Yeah, no restrictions. And then you get to see Ernesto, Hector, like fading away,
Mm-hmm.
and he's crying. He's like, "No, like I'm gonna stay with you here. Like I want to stay with you. Like I'm gonna remember you
Mhm.
back in the land of the living.
Mhm.
Like I'll remember you. I saw you here. I'll remember you. I'll put your
Mhm.
picture up." But that's not how
It's not
it
how it
works.
works.
Mama Coco is the one who has to see it. And they give him his blessing, and the way they just give it, and he just goes without like wanting to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And he just runs straight to Mama Coco, hopefully to reach her, to get her to remember. And everybody in the family is looking for him because obviously he disappeared. He died.
Yeah.
And they're trying to stop him. He's a goat. He runs in there, locks the door inside that room where the ofrenda is and where Mama Coco is,
And
just
she's like,
trying,
"Do you remember him? Do you
He's
remember
just-
him?" And
yeah.
she's like,
desperately trying.
she's
Yeah.
kind of like,
And
done-
it's
gone.
basically this is
Yeah.
where I start tearing up because earlier in the movie she sees the picture and she
She
says
goes,
Papa, Papa, and now he has the picture and showing him like
She's
showing
not.
her, and she's just, and you can
Yeah.
tell she's also like she's very old. She's
Probably
like-
has dementia. Yeah.
She's like on her
not doing
last.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, all the family rushes in. Like, I can't believe you're crazy. Like, why you're scary? You're gonna kill her, basically. Like,
Yeah.
you're putting too much stress on this poor woman.
Yeah.
And then they're just basically scolding this kid. And they're also saying, "We're glad you're okay."
Mhm.
And he goes
And
and, hugs
then-
his dad.
And hugs
like
his dad.
defeated.
And then Mama, what's her name? The one that's in there, not Imelda, the other one.
No clue, man.
Abuelita.
Yeah, just
What's-
abuelita.
Abuelita. She's like, "Now go over there to apologize to Mama Coco." And then this is, he goes and
All
like,
the homies
It's where the
crying.
water works.
he goes and picks up the guitar and says, "Your papa would wanted you to have this,"
He loved
and he
you.
just
Yeah, and he just wanted you to know he loves you.
Dude.
and he just starts singing.
Remember me. And he's like doing it through his tears.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I'm tearing up right now.
Yeah.
And then she like gets this little sparkle, and the family's like, like, what the heck is happening? And she
Yeah.
like lights up, and she goes and starts singing,
Yeah.
and then I start.
Yeah, I'm crying.
Yeah, I'm crying hard.
Like I was straight up like bawling my eyes out.
It's
Yeah.
so you
I don't know why it feels so.
like
It's like you're defeated. He's gonna be forgotten, and this is your last chance. But it's not even like I'm doing this for selfish reasons because I want him on the ofrenda. It's more like this is his parting wish.
Yeah.
This is like all throughout his life, all throughout his afterlife,
This is what he
this is
wanted.
all he wanted,
All he ever wanted
Wants to go
his
back to
daughter
his daughter.
to know was that he loved
Yeah.
her.
and that's
And
it.
he never
and,
got to tell her that.
and it was like it's like his departing gift,
Yeah.
and the the life it brings back into her. You think of this family who doesn't hear "Remember Me" at all.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's so heavily played on the radio, but not in this family.
Yeah.
So when she hears it, it's that special moment back to
Yeah.
bring her back to when she was a child.
And it's also the power of music.
Yeah.
Like music has the ability to make those memories flood back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't tell you how often I've heard a song where I immediately think of a time in my childhood where I'm like, man, I remember, that moment when I heard that song for the first time, what I was wearing, what the people around me looked like, where I was, and like stuff like that. And it's the power of music, but also the power of the meaning of the song that we have now had our context changed with, that makes it so much more powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goated.
Incredible.
Yeah, I was crying so hard. And it even gives her a second life kind of deal where she's like, and she goes and pulls out the ripped picture.
Yeah.
So now he's not going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
And, she starts to tell stories about him. And
Mhm.
they're even like standing around like kind of dumbfounded that she's doing this.
Yeah.
And she's even saying like, my papa was the greatest musician around, and like completely destroying the notion that music is terrible. Music is destroyed our family in the first place. It was what brought us together.
Yeah.
And you see, as that scene goes past, it's, kind of more lighthearted, and then you see they put Mama's
1 year later.
Oh,
yeah,
they
1
put
year
1
later.
year
And
later.
they
You
put
see-
Mama Coco's picture on the ofrenda. That's where I started crying hard
I
again,
started
dude.
sobbing even more because that's even sad.
Yeah.
That's so sad, bro.
Yeah.
She didn't.
I started crying even harder. Like I was crying hard because like it was sweet, and I could tell that like, oh, he's gonna sing "Remember Me," and I knew it was happening, but it still got me. And then he cuts to 1 year later, and then you see her put their picture on the ofrenda. I was like, I started crying even harder.
But isn't it kind of hopeful, because not only do you
It's so
see
hopeful
hers,
because I'm crying now, and then you see the land of the dead,
yes,
Yeah.
and then you're like, you see, and Hector and Mama Imelda reconnect, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, they kiss, and you're like, yes, like
Yeah.
they're together, and then you see Mama Coco, and then you're like, she goes, Papa, and they hug, and then he swings her around like a little girl again,
Yeah.
and they're a full family
Yeah.
again.
finally.
Exactly what he wanted and what he wanted to do
Yeah.
as his last time wish.
Yeah, and then not only that, whenever Day of the Dead comes that year, it's a drastic difference from what it's been
Dude.
for generations.
And Miguel has a completely different character arc here.
Yeah.
A completely different character shift where now he's saying like, this is my family. He's like he's even that little baby. He's like,
I think
that's his
these are your
sister.
people. Is it
Yeah.
a sister?
Because at the end,
His
it's,
mom
it's
is
his mom and
pregnant.
dad
Oh yeah.
are
But,
holding it.
at the beginning he couldn't care less, and now he's like, these are our family.
Well, yeah.
Like I'm so proud to be part of this lineage. Like
yeah.
I'm gonna share it, forever.
Yeah.
And to see him like now he's the heart of the family,
Yeah.
singing my heart. I have a proud heart for
Yeah.
this family, and
Yeah.
it's just a perfect way to end it.
Yeah.
You see him not like you see him singing and dancing, my proud corazon and all that, and then
Yeah.
you see like the mixture of the family members, both dead and alive. Like
Yeah.
you see Mama Coco is right next to Abuelita,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there like. And then you see even Hector grab the guitar and start to play too. And
Yeah.
it's just great.
Yeah. It is.
There's no other way to describe it other than
Yeah.
just full.
Yeah.
I think that was the perfect way to end this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a movie like this, for sure.
Our love for each other
Yeah.
will live on forever.
Definitely. All right. Well, if that's it for the favorite scenes, let's move into best quotes.
Yeah.
My first quote is from De La Cruz, obviously, is when he says, he just caught me off guard because he says, he's just about to give him his blessing, and he goes, "It has been an honor. I'm sorry to see you go, Miguel. I hope you die very soon."
Yes.
And Miguel's like, and he goes, "You know what I mean."
Yeah.
But it's like, it's weird that we're in this like children's movie,
Yeah.
but he's also saying like, I want you to die.
Yeah. I had a funny one that made me laugh whenever Mama Imelda is trying to like plead her case as to why she should be on the ofrenda. And they all go in, and the clerk is like, he keeps sneezing, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I'm terribly allergic to Dante." And he goes, "But Dante doesn't have any hair." And he goes, "And I don't have a nose." So yeah, here we are.
Yeah,
So,
here we
like, yeah, super funny.
Yeah.
I didn't write any down.
Abe, you don't have any?
I'm looking at some right now, but I didn't write any down. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I have one from Ernesto, but it's I think it's more or less because I wrote it down whenever I thought he was the good guy.
Okay.
And he talks about like how it's his duty to sing almost, and he says, "I have to sing. It's not just in me.
It is.
It is me."
Mm.
And like that was something that Miguel heard and connected to so much, where he was like, I feel that same thing. Like I want to play music so bad, and I want to express myself through this medium, but my family doesn't let me.
Yeah.
And like I don't think that they understand that like it is quite literally feels like a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yeah, that's about it for quotes from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, me as well.
All right. Let's move into bro moments. That's where I had a
Yeah.
big chunk.
You had
here.
a big chunk here.
My first one was freaking homie getting crushed by the bell.
Yeah.
Like in the exposition. And, like I didn't expect it, where like, you know, they're showing this like larger than life performance. He's going up on top of the stairs and performing, and then as everyone's like swooning over him, the guy goes, "Oh no," and just the bell just whonk, kills him. I was like, "Oh shoot." Like, I didn't think that was going to be shown in a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
One
freaking crushed.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was kind of cool, which was also a bro moment, was that the family decided to go into shoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bro
Become
moment because
Zapatarias.
yeah, but because I know a lot of my friends from Mexico that I like talk to on WhatsApp
Yeah.
are all like have families who own Zapatilla, and so like anytime I go, I always get huaraches.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, I gotta go
Dude.
to Rivera Zapatarias and get some huaraches.
My dad's in Mexico right now, and I told him to bring me some new huaraches because I want some.
I want a pair too, bro.
Bro, it's what size you are?
Do I want to say that on the internet? I'll hit you up after.
Shut up.
Yeah. Another bro moment for me is whenever Miguel sneaks into Frida Kahlo's her like art space, where
Yeah.
she's like coming up with the concept of the show and
Oh, that's
everything.
further on, yeah.
And he's like, and you should do the da 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 da.
Yeah, but also whenever he goes in and sees the guy painting the naked skeleton, and he walks by and sees it and is like, "What the heck?"
Yo.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
That they like kind of, you know, she's like naked, quote unquote, in that world, but he doesn't really even.
There's
know
There's
Yeah.
nothing he
It's
can't
also a little
Just
bit of a bro
bones.
moment how an artist, like whenever Frida Kahlo notices like you're an artist just like me, and like you can, you know, make things creatively with ease. Like I was that same way. She kind of also doesn't give him any credit for his part in the show,
True.
just like Hector. Whenever she comes out and, you know, he says like, you know, you can have the music do this whenever they come out of the mango or the guava or whatever it is,
see. The papaya.
the papaya, and the music could do this, and it
It does.
quite literally does that, but he never gets any credit.
Also, she said she wasn't even gonna be there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what that was all
Why
about.
she show up?
she's larger than life.
She's gotta show up.
Yeah, she's like Jack Nicholson going to the Oscars. You just don't go, but you get nominated for everything.
Yeah.
A bro moment that I thought was pretty cool was, and I think it's kind of cool for the animation, was his hands turning into a skeleton.
Oh yeah, slowly.
I
Yeah.
thought it was cool. And I
That's
thought-
another piece that kind of reminded me of Back to the Future, where like if he doesn't make his parents kiss that night, he slowly starts to fade away, because that's the catalyst event for him being alive
Mm-hmm.
in Back to the Future. And like as he's about to play and they're not kissing, he's like slowly fading into nothingness. The entire time I was like, this freaking reminds me of Marty McFly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a bro moment because like the way they made it work was just like it's still half skeleton and half body,
Yeah.
and they like made it like almost an ombre, where like it blended. It was just super cool.
Mhm.
And I thought that was a bro moment because I was like, bro, he's dying, and like,
Still-
he's still alive. I'm
Half-
alive, but I'm dead.
Have to.
Yeah.
Have to. My next bro moment is when they get to that community of all the forgotten people or the people who are being forgotten to go and get the guitar, and they talk to that old guy who's like, I'm not-
Chicharron.
yeah, Chicharron. He's like, I'm not giving you nothing. I don't know. You took my van, my femur. Like, I'm not giving you my most prized possession ever. But then, he's like, this is where we first get introduced to the idea of a second death, where you get forgotten and die again. And he's like, I'll give you the guitar, but you have to sing for me. You have to play me that song I love so much. So he starts to play it, and it's again one of those tender moments. It's like we've thought of this guy as like kind of this like heckler, jokester, and like doesn't really care, doesn't take anything too seriously. But when he picks up that guitar and plays for him, it's just like, I don't know, it just feels so like respectful and intimate. Although the song is somewhat funny and he censors himself a little bit, he plays it in such a soft way, and then you just watch this guy just die twice.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
takes a
just
shot from him.
disappear.
Yeah, it's it's sad.
Kind of sad
Yeah.
because
Definitely.
now that guy is really forgotten.
Yeah.
Nobody knows him.
And that's happening to Hector.
Yep.
So, bro moment for Sholi.
Yeah. Another bro moment for me was Ernesto de la Cruz when he's telling everybody, I have a great grandson, I have a great grandson. It's taking him to like all these places. Like
Like
is
he's on
he
a horse.
On a horse playing croquet or whatever that thing is. Like, and he's saying, this is my great grandson.
Yeah.
And like, that's crazy, bruh.
Yeah. There was a fun little sequence at first. The last bro moment that I have that we kind of haven't already talked about was, well, I guess we did actually, was, I mean, the crux of the whole plot. And, that De La Cruz has been stealing Hector's songs, and then
Freaking
we find
kills
out that
him.
he kills him, and then
You rat!
yeah, and then we also find out that Hector is actually Miguel's great-great-grandpa, and yeah. From then on, I was like, I'm not touching my phone anymore. I'm watching this whole movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me as well.
All right, if that's it for the bro moments, then let's move into some facts with the bros.
I gotta hear the budget on this.
To make this movie, it took $175 million.
175 million. Okay.
Opening weekend in 2017, it made $50.8 million.
Okay. Opening weekend.
U.S. and Canada, it made $210.4 million.
All right.
And worldwide, it made $814.3 million.
Dude, almost $1 billion.
Almost $1 billion.
Holy.
That
And
is,
it's not their most profitable movie?
I don't think that's Pixar's most profitable movie.
That's crazy. I had read that the film opened up in Mexico 3.5 weeks before it ever opened in the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
and it surpassed The Avengers as the country's highest-grossing film
Really?
of all time.
And the Avengers, when it came out, was like
Was huge. So this is
earth-shattering event.
yeah. This is just for Mexico specifically.
Right.
This is Mexico's highest-grossing film of all time.
Yeah, 800 freaking thousand, 800 million.
Yeah.
Another cool fact, this is a 2-time Oscar winner film.
Okay, best original score,
Song.
best original song.
For
Okay,
Remember Me.
okay, and then it's got to be best animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even matter what it goes against.
Should we check? But real quick, Pixar's most profitable movie is Toy Story 4, which I think is odd.
Toy Story 4, the most recent one,
Really?
Yeah, it's with $1.07 billion.
with Forky.
Forky kind of slapped.
I'm trash.
Um,
That's strange. I know Toy Story's got a hold on people ever since first and second one, but
Mhm.
Toy Story is a good movie, but I didn't think it was that good.
yeah.
Last one I watched was 3.
Really?
And
Yeah.
that one is like a perfect end too.
It was. It made me sob crying in the theaters whenever it was like, so long, partner. I was like,
And then 4 comes out, and you're like, great.
yeah.
Bonnie.
Now they're putting out 5.
No.
Yeah, don't get.
Yes, they are.
Don't get me started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just running into the ground.
Seriously.
Concerning the new Fast and Furious.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I had read a interesting fact about Miguel. He originally was only gonna play guitar and not sing.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, just guitar alone. It was only until the director discovered that the dude who voiced Miguel, Anthony Gonzalez, he's a talented singer. So he wrote a version of him singing into the script.
Oh.
Isn't that sick?
So then that means once he discovered it, they then had to create all the songs. So those songs weren't in there at one point.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I don't think so.
That's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Be so different if he wasn't singing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
This, which is I thought was also cool, was this spent more days on the #1 box office than any other animated film in the 21st century.
All right.
But it blows my mind because then Toy Story 4
goes and gets highest.
goes and
grossing.
gets highest.
That's crazy.
The animated features that it went against, this deserves it 100%. It goes up against The Boss Baby,
Bro, are you
The-
serious? That
yeah.
even got nominated?
The Breadwinner, which I've never heard of,
Okay, me neither.
Ferdinand
Ferdinand the Bull.
the Bull, and Loving Vincent.
Ever-
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
So-
Oh, the only one I've heard of is
By
Boss
default.
Baby.
By impossible.
Yeah,
It's got. Is that Illumination Studios too?
I think so.
It's got the same kind of vibe.
yeah.
And style.
And then for original music, I only know one movie, which was, or actually two of them, but the nominees were Mighty River for Mudbound, Mystery of Love from Call Me by Your Name,
Oh.
Stand Up for Something for Marshall, and then This Is Me from The Greatest Showman.
That's a good
For original
That's a
songs.
good song too.
I'm a Sufjan Stan, bruh. Mystery of Love got shafted.
You think so?
That song's incredible. Blessed be the... Like, that's such a good song.
It is.
I don't know it.
It's, yeah. Wow.
I'm still thinking This Is Me from Greatest
This
Show.
is me.
Nope. That's not how it goes.
I don't know. I haven't seen the Greatest Showman.
That movie made me cry for no reason other than I'm
What
a little
song
baby.
am I singing?
It's I know what song you're singing. It's not that song, but it's a song. It's like a camp rock song. This is like a Demi Lovato song for which she was in Disney
No,
Channel.
don't tell me I'm singing Demi Lovato.
I think
bro.
you are.
Demi Lovato?
This
Might-
is
might
me.
be.
Or maybe it's Lemonhead.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Lemonade Mountain?
Yeah, Lemonade Mouth. That's what it
Is
is.
that what it is?
It's probably something. I know it's, or maybe it's like a High School Musical song. Whatever. He'll search it.
The last fact that I have, I think I may have already mentioned, but the look of the Land of the Dead was actually inspired by a city in Mexico named Guanajuato, which actually has tons of colorful houses placed on hillsides in such a way where that almost looks like they're stacked on top of one another. That's kind of where they got the inspiration for the look of the Land of the Dead whenever we get there in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about it for me. You guys got any other facts?
No, that's about it for me. We hit most of them.
Yeah,
Those
a lot of
big
the
ones.
interesting ones, how much it made and all that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, actually, one fact. Do you know who plays Ernesto de la Cruz?
I do. Benjamin
Yes.
Bratt.
It's Paco,
That
el
is-
gallo negro.
That's crazy.
Life's a risk, canal.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally put that motto into his character in this movie.
Life's a
And
risk.
it would make sense.
Same character.
Yeah. All right, what didn't work?
Crickets.
I think Pixar films are formulaic.
You think so?
They all have like your kid lead or your lead, and then they have like a derpy animal character that follows them around. Some
Fair.
animal character or inanimate object that's like a supporting character, and I don't know. Like they always have like this like rising tension type thing where it's like, oh, it's gonna come up here. Is he gonna die? No, the derpy character saves him.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Some of them feel a little bit formulaic for me, and I'm kind of like, you could put this exact same like plot beats and everything into Soul, or like Toy Story 4 or 3 or whatever. But even Up, like I'm thinking of Up and freaking Kevin, like
Kevin with the bird.
yeah, like all Pixar movies are like that for me.
It's true.
I want you to know that I'm very frustrated that you guessed that I would sing a freaking Camp Rock movie.
I told you. I freaking told
I've
you.
never seen Camp Rock.
Oh, okay. Is it really from
It's
Camp
from
Rock?
Camp Rock
With the Jonas Brothers.
with Joe Jonas. It was freaking Demi Lovato with Joe Jonas.
Call me a prophet, man. I knew you were singing that.
I would never watch that, dude. Camp Rock's a cult.
Imagine now that song is best original song. Yeah. You're wild. Man.
I don't have nothing for what didn't work.
Yeah, I really couldn't even tell you. I do see what you're saying though about the formulaic stuff. They have a style that they stick to quite a bit.
Yeah, 'cause I see what you're saying about that the animal. Because I think about like Moana and that dumb rooster chicken thing.
The pig too.
The pig is not that dumb.
No, the chicken is dumb.
The
Pig,
chicken
but the
is-
pig is there.
The chicken is ridiculously dumb.
Yeah. I don't know.
But they hit.
But
they
they
hit, man. Like, it ain't broke.
If
Why
it
are you
ain't
trying to
broke-
reinvent the wheel?
I don't know, but at some point, like, you got to try something new.
And then they fail.
Yeah, and
They
like that,
fail.
and that's the point where, like, at some point, like, you're just beating a dead horse. Like, it feels like I know that they've got multiple hits where they could do the same thing over and over and over again, but that's the equivalent to me to being like, "Hey, my name is Psy. You remember when I put out Gangnam Style?" Like, and just being like, like
Dude,
doing it
that's-
over and
he
over and over
still does
again.
that.
It's
You know?
it's different somewhat. I mean,
I
they
think
they
it is different because Pixar has been around for so long that you can go back to their catalogs, and if I have a kid in 5 years from now and I show them Toy Story, they're gonna love that.
Yeah.
Even,
I don't know.
even
I
though
also
it's-
just miss whenever Disney movies didn't rely on Pixar. Like, I like.
well, yeah, with Disney, a lot of stuff from Disney is not good anymore.
yeah
Yeah, like
it's-
I miss the the forgotten movies like Treasure Planet
Dude,
or like Atlantis,
Atlantis was goated.
like the live action stuff, Hook, like things like that.
Mhm.
They're like, they know
You mean
Pixar
tell me
is a
Lemonade
freaking.
Mouth wasn't a good movie.
I don't know. I wasn't a Disney person. Like I knew like the cornerstone movies, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff. But with like when kids were growing up my age and they were like, "Oh, do you watch The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody?"
Dude.
I was like, "Hell no, dude." I
I
watched
did.
Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon only.
Yeah.
I
Like,
watched all of them.
No,
I watched
I
all of
did not like Disney Channel like at all.
Really?
There's only
Like-
certain Disney Channel shows
Like
that
I remember
watched.
trying to watch High School Musical and I was like, "This is dumb. I'd rather go to sleep." Like and I like went to bed instead of watching TV and staying up.
I'd rather
Dude,
go to sleep.
I
If a
used to
kid
wa-
says that, you know it's not
Yeah.
Bad.
good.
Yeah,
What about Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior, bro?
That was gas.
I don't
Gas
even
movie.
know what that
That's
is.
a good movie.
That's good.
Brenda Song.
I don't
Yeah.
even know who you are.
You took everything from me. He's like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Disney homeboy.
Yeah, I'm a Disney fan.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, the same thing could be said for me. Like, I don't understand Disney adults and like people that go to Disneyland multiple times a
No,
year.
I'm not like that. I'm not like that.
The last time I gone was 2020. I think it's time for me to go again.
I recognize their faults. I really do. They have a lot of their movies are just they don't.
They
hit
take
the,
away all the good stuff.
They
too.
don't hit
like,
the mark.
they took away Toontown
Toontown.
and
At Disneyland, they
and
took away-
Disneyland
they took
and
away
Who Framed
Toontown.
Roger Rabbit. Like they totally disown that movie, and I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
That's just such
It's
a
like the
movie.
blending of cartoon and live action.
Yes, you do.
together.
You know who Jessica Rabbit is? She was one of the biggest
Oh,
crushes we all had.
And she got that red dress.
Yeah.
She got that. Yeah.
Yes. And Disney like tries to sweep that thing under the rug and is like, we don't want nothing to do with it.
It's because it kind of like shows violence and stuff on there.
But it's Toontown.
I know. And
Yeah.
Bunny Rabbit, Roger Rabbit, or what's his name? That boy
Roger
name?
Rabbit. whatever.
Robert Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than, I mean, I don't have anything. If you want to get to what does work though,
All right, let's get to it.
immediately, can we just talk about the art style?
Dude.
It looks like every other Pixar movie.
Dude,
Like,
no,
They all look the same.
no. Well,
Like in their animation style, they all look the same. Like, yeah, it's got pretty colors and it's set in Mexico, but other than that, like the actual animation of it,
yeah.
it's no different than like any other Pixar movie that's come out in the last 10 years.
Well, that's not to say it's bad.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's the same.
but it's great. Like, you can't look at that and say
That's not
it's
great.
bad.
If
If any other studio made something with this quality, you'd be like, what the this is great.
Not really.
It's so
like
good.
The last animation movie that made me do that was Into the Spider-Verse. And that
Well,
was because they
that's
took
different.
how it's animated.
Well, yeah, but it's more of like the comic book style, and there's like a variety.
There is a different style of animation.
There's a variety. Like, it is consistently like bombastic and like
Yeah, and I love that. Or like
that's
like
just
there's like stop motion animation.
Yeah.
Because that takes like tons of skill, which
Yes.
I can really appreciate. Whereas with the Pixar movies, I'm like,
You know, like this is
it's
like
just like all computer
claymation, right?
generated.
yeah.
And I know that there's like a lot of work that goes into it. I don't want to write it off as that, but like, I don't know.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I
love it.
The reason why I say art style is because even like it's just small details. The small character movements. Like, you have so much freedom with skeletons to really show personality. Like, even when Hector is like, he disconnects his hands, and then his hands are like two people doing a little play. Or like when he's excited, his head will flip. Or like he's running with the limp, and he runs into someone and his body collapses and then kind of comes back together. There's so much like just personality in each of the people, how they're animated.
Okay.
And they have so much freedom to do a lot of things because the body doesn't need to be connected to it. You know, the arm bone don't connect to the shoulder bone. It doesn't need to because they're skeletons.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just they had a lot of freedom, and they used that freedom, I think, in just genius ways. That's really what I wanted to say about art style. Because they could have just been very generic skeletons who had, you know, they didn't do anything special. But I think they used what they had to their advantage.
I really think this movie will make you feel something,
Easily.
no matter what.
Yeah, if it doesn't, you got to take the psychopath test.
100% you can need to take a psychopath test.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think this movie is rewatchable, and I think I could watch this movie like once a year around the same time, and enjoy it just as much as I did as I watched it this time.
Agree.
And I think everybody should watch this movie. It is so good. It is so good.
Agree. I just think the plot is really tight knit as well. Like, everything that happens has got so many other things that are connected to it, and it all just flows beautifully. I think it's incredibly tight. It's smartly written as well. I really enjoy the script here.
Yeah, I agree. I find myself thinking with the same mindset of whenever we watch Soul, in the fact that like only this movie and Soul could approach topics that seem so much larger than life and do it in a way through animation that feels so meaningful. Like, this movie talks about murder and loss and grief and like feeling like you are out of place and being in a family that completely rejects you and your ideals and taking all of those hard topics that everybody is going to go through once in their life, if not more, and tackles it through animation and through really clever storytelling. And it does it in a way too where, you know, it's going to continue to hit, you know. I do have to say that I appreciate the storytelling aspect there.
Yeah, storytelling is fantastic. Characters are awesome too. The twists of the story,
Yeah.
give it all new meaning. I mean,
I think the twist of Ernesto and Hector really like throws people off.
yeah,
And I'm kind of glad like it threw you off because
Yeah.
I feel like and in a lot of Pixar movies you can tell what's going to happen. And so and you're one to like call it out. So like knowing that this kind of stumped you kind of made me happy.
Yeah.
So
it takes the predictability and slightly turns it up on its head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Music goes hard.
music goes hard.
so hard.
I even found myself loving the mariachi intro, like where the Disney, you know, theme kind of goes in. They even do like a mariachi version of it, and I was like, all right, I like this. This is good. It's kind of setting the mood. And then just all the music throughout the film as well is really great. I love the use of like those Spanish classical guitars and like those scales as well, and them paying homage to just like Spanish classical music, like mariachi music, and being able to not only use it but do it in a way that feels respectful to the culture, you know. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I
it.
mean that's pretty much it for me.
It for me.
Okay. Well, if that's it for what did work, who wins this movie?
I think for me is Hector.
Yeah.
Hector.
Me too. His voice actor's name is, I hope I say this correctly, Gael Garcia Bernal.
Gael Garcia Bernal.
But yeah, he does great. And I looked at him too. He's in a movie that I want to watch, that I've been wanting to watch for a while, called Y tu mama también.
Yes.
That he's one of the kids in the movie.
Yes, I've seen the box art for that.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to check it out.
It's like, are they like at a poolside or
yeah,
something?
yeah.
They're like,
yeah. But him and another guy are in the film, and I've always wanted to check that out as well. So
I
this
didn't
gives
know
me
he was in that.
more reason to do so.
Were they actually the singers as well? I don't
know.
I'm not sure.
Actually,
Dang, that movie's nominated for an Oscar. That's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I don't have no clue what it's about. But yeah, he definitely wins it for me. Close second gotta be Miguel.
Yeah.
As I said his name, Anthony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
What a goat. He does great.
Yeah, I think Ernesto's just. You think about it and you're just like, dude, like he can't be forgotten, and that's just immediately.
You mean Hector?
Yes, Hector.
You said Ernesto.
Ernesto, he even says like,
It even says at the end, "Forget him."
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Hector. Excuse me.
All right. Any themes? Family.
Hit him with the VIN.
Family. I went a little deep, and
Family
it's
is
kinda like-
important.
it's kind of hit. No, yeah, I kind of hate my family, and this definitely kind of hit a bit because my family is broken. And so I kind of put down, just thinking about my life in the past like couple years. It's like put little things aside and just make sure your family's good. Like
Yeah.
that's your family. That's the only one you got.
Yep.
True. I think it has a big.
Um.
It's got a big thing about tradition, though.
No, yeah, and it like, and they're this family was big on tradition and big on making sure everybody was together,
Mhm.
as a family should. And as I was watching this, I thought about like how broken like my family is, and I was like, dude, that sucks.
Mm.
So yeah, dude, take care of your family, love your family, and just put like little things aside and make sure your family's good, because you only got one.
Yep.
And
You don't know when they're gone.
you
Yeah, and
don't-
I even think it's like a really healthy way that they show, especially with Mama Imelda, where at first, before she's even ready to forgive Hector, she says like, she makes the steps to say like, I will help you, but I don't forgive you yet. Like I still need to work through that. And then as we watch her character develop, that slowly starts to dissipate, and she slowly does start to forgive Hector and truly realizes that, you know, this man really did want to come back to me and to my child, but he couldn't because his life was taken from him.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have to, you know, work on myself, because I spent so many years hating this man, and now I come to find out that like it was all for nothing. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it shows like there's really healthy ways to not only process grief, but also, you know, in ways that like forgiveness isn't always a straight line for some people, you know, and that, you know, not everybody is gifted to the point where you can be like, oh, hey, you did this terrible thing. Okay, forgive you. Like, it's not that easy for some people, right? Sometimes it's going to take a minute or a couple of tries, you know, and yeah, like the way that they portrayed that there.
Yeah. I even think it's kind of showing the dangers of tradition too, because traditions aren't always great.
No.
Just because they've been passed down over the years, they're not always they don't always fit everybody in the family.
Yeah.
And I think that they can be damaging, quite literally damaging to a lot of people. Like, I think of families who are like, we have a lineage of doctors. You have to be a doctor, and if you're not, then like you're gonna be a disgrace to the family.
Yeah. Or
And
even think of like Forrest Gump, when like Lieutenant Dan says like, all of my ancestors died in battle.
Yeah, it's a incredibly like heavy thing to give to someone.
Yeah.
It's like you're holding up our traditions, our lineage, and if
Yeah.
you aren't, then you're nothing.
Yeah.
Almost. And they come at it with a good heart, saying, we don't want you to follow down the line that he did, breaking up the family and all that. But it's like there's a point to it, to where it's like you can't force this kid into a box that you want him to be if he's not gonna fit. He's a triangle,
Yeah.
like, as corny as that sounds.
I am rectangular.
It's so true. It's literally true.
Feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
It's true. And traditions, I think they're not good to write them off ever, because they've been passed down for reasons. A lot of them are fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of them are great, especially if they bring joy and it's kind of fun to do
Yeah.
with family and all that. But once it starts to,
Hinder somebody.
then what's the point of it?
Right.
Like, why keep it?
Yeah.
Especially when it's under a false pretense too. So
Yeah.
thought it was interesting.
All right. If that's it for the themes, what are we rating this movie?
I'll go first. I'll give it a confident 9.
Another 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give it an 8.
An 8? Okay. I think this is my own personal 10.
All right.
I love this movie too much to give it anything less.
Mm.
I recognize that it's another Disney movie, but it hits me in ways that movies just don't. And yeah, I cry. I love it. I just love it. No, I'm giving it a 10. No matter what people say, I don't care.
I respect that.
I respect it.
So
All
that's
right.
it.
All right. Well, that's the end of the episode, you guys. So if you stuck all the way to the end, we appreciate you. If you are watching on YouTube, leave us a like on the videos as well as a comment. Maybe subscribe to the channel. And if you're subscribing, you might as well hit the bell notification so that way you're notified whenever we upload. And if you're listening on the audio platforms, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, etc., hit us up with a rate and review and let us know what you're thinking. It really does help us out whenever you guys are interacting with the content that we're putting out, because not only does it let us know what you're thinking, but it also lets us know ways in which we could potentially change up the show, make it better, things that we could potentially continue doing. It's also a form of suggestions, things like that, movie recommendations, and all that stuff. It does help out, so we appreciate the guys that are going out there and interacting with it and stuff. It really does help us out. And if you don't want to do that on such a public platform, you can click into our episode descriptions and reach out to us either via Instagram or Letterboxd or our email address and let us know what you're thinking through those methods of contact as well. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and reveal the next pick for the podcast, and it is my pick. And we are going to be doing a movie that I actually watched for the first time this year that I had a lot of fun with, and I remember when I watched it, I immediately said, I got to do this in the fall, because this movie just feels like a warm fall hug. And I've always heard so much about it, and it's become one of those movies that people reference it and they're like, that is like the gold standard for this type of genre or something like that. And I actually had a really good time with it when I didn't expect to. And we're going to be talking about When Harry Met Sally. And I know that you guys haven't seen it.
No.
It's going to be my second rewatch, or my second watch again. And I think her name is Meg Ryan. It's with Meg Ryan, and I'm forgetting the guy's name. He's in a lot of stuff, though. If you guys see him, you're going to be like, oh, I think it's the guy that voices Mike Wazowski.
Oh, yeah. I know. I know the voice, obviously, but I don't know the name.
But he plays Harry, and then Meg Ryan, I believe, plays Sally. And it's this beautiful tale about people who become friends, and they never really get that right connection. They could always feel like there was something there, but it was never really the right time for them. And it's a really not only fun watch, but something that I think is really wholesome at the core of it. And I thought, what better movie to not only bring in that fall feeling, but also usher in, the holiday season and all that stuff as well. So,
Romance.
yeah.
All right.
So-
Is it streaming on anything by chance?
it is streaming on Showtime if you have a subscription there. And then I also saw on like Hulu, as well as like Paramount Plus and Amazon Prime and things like that. If it ends up not working out for all of you guys, I do have it physically.
Okay.
So we can watch it there as well, and I'll lend
Okay.
it to you guys. But if you don't have those streaming platforms, you will have to rent it, unfortunately. I say check it out. It's a really good movie, and I think it's something that you guys will have a lot of fun with. So
All right. Sounds good.
tune in next week to hear what we have to say about When Harry Met Sally. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.